Hello, I'm going to go over the homework requirements and details for the composition and design project, plan, and artist research. So this is part one of a two-part project. So let me go over these details, and hopefully you watched some of the other overview videos so you realize that this is part one and you will complete this assignment, and then the next learning unit you will finish the project in part two. All right, so, and then within that, to make it more confusing, there are two parts to this particular homework project. So for this homework assignment post, you have two parts. And the first part is you're going to research, look at, and be inspired by one of the photographers from the list that is available in this learning unit, which I've gathered. I think there's like 74 different photographers, and you can just click on these links to any of these photographers, and it oftentimes will take you to their website. So for example, and it's probably not going to fit in the frame correctly, but this goes to his Instagram website, and you can learn more about him. I just chose to put that link here, but you can Google him and or any of these photographers. So you'll basically pick one and apply the homework. So let me go back. So you'll pick one of those photographers. And that's part one, and the prompts are basically to name the photographer, a short bio about the photographer, so you can kind of tell us, I'm more interested in their photographs, but a short introduction about when they made their photos and anything about the cultural context or whatever you learn. So just a short bio about the photographer. I want you to really talk about the compositional styles. And so again, I've included a link here that take you to the 10 keys of composition, which are a big part of this learning unit. And I want you to also talk about the quality of light that the photographer used. You need to have at least 2 links, and you can just kind of have this be, you can have a section in your homework that's part one. You can grab these prompts and just respond to them. It makes it easier for me to grade your work as opposed to one big block paragraph. And I want you to upload 2 photographs by your photographer. That might be a good idea to use the grid so they're just next to each other. It can make your homework submission page a little cleaner. And with those 2 photographs by the photographer that you've chosen, you're going to include the physical properties. So we'll already have known the name of the photographer. Of course, you can include that again. The name of the photograph, the size, the date, the medium, and any other details that you find. So that's part one. Basically, this is a good opportunity for you to learn about these different photographers who are published and have impacted the history of photography, and to really look at their work for a source of inspiration. You do not have to make work that even looks remotely like this photographer's work. This is just so you continue to learn about all these really fabulous photographers that I've collected and shared with you. So your photographs could be totally different subject matter composition, but I just really want you guys to learn from these different artists that I've included in the learning unit. Part 2 of this homework assignment is to share your plans for the photographs that you're going to create for this project. So you're going to give us some examples with this learning unit, and with the next learning unit, you're going to turn in your final images. So for this part, I basically am asking you to consider and submit the following prompts. So the type of project that you're going to create or working on. Is it portraiture? Is it landscape? Is it abstract? So you kind of want to go back to those different genres that we've been studying and give your plan a genre, or at least a project direction. What's the subject of your photograph? So are you going to photograph a person? Are you going to set things up in your house? Are you going to find a particular scenario or scene? Are you going to do street photography? So it's going to be kind of what happens in front of your camera. The location. So where are you taking these pictures? In your backyard, on the corner of Powell and Market in San Francisco, ocean beach. So where are you doing it? What type of light are you going to use or find or work with or create, set up? And I've included a link to a lighting diagram website. So we'll be talking more about lighting in a future learning unit, but just to kind of keep sprinkling in these important photographic concepts. And so when you're thinking about what type of light, you might be thinking about the time of day. So do you want like high contrast, low contrast? What type of lighting and what type of time of day would work best? And then, of course, the compositional style that you're going to play around with and use. Maybe you're really interested in rule of thirds or frame within a frame. So talk a little bit about that. And then you'll upload at least 2 photographs as examples. And so again, this might be a good spot to build one of those grids and upload your photos and then include all of the exposure information, the type of camera that you used, your white balance setting, and any information regarding the lighting. And then finally, I'd like for you to take a minute to write about like what kind of feedback do you want for your photos. So for example, maybe you want to hear about your classmates' ideas and my thoughts on your composition and color. These photographs that you're making this week will lead into what you'll continue to work on and submit for your final submission, which will be the following learning unit. So these are like your prep photos, and you might nail it this week and include one of the photos that you're submitting here. It's just going to depend. But the whole point of this project is to submit work, get feedback from myself and your peers, continue to work on the same ideas, the same project, and then turn in your final images, so to speak, in the next learning unit. So the peer review is a really important part of this learning unit. And I've given you some prompts here. So sometimes a really fun one is just to say, oh, the first word I thought of was, pizza, because I'm getting ready for lunch. So, and I'm really thinking about pizza. But so you look at a photo and you might say, it makes you think of giving, or it might makes you think of good times on a summer day, like whatever comes to mind. And because that can really help your peer to understand, oh, they're nailing my concept and my intention, or, oh my gosh, that wasn't what I wanted them to think about at all, but that's cool that that's what they thought about. And then, give 1 or 2 suggestions on ways for your classmate to improve either the subject matter, the composition, the lighting, any other critical feedback. And this is where you're going to want to have referenced whatever your classmate wrote about as far as what kind of feedback they're looking for. All right, so I'm really excited to see this composition and design project. I think it's a great homework assignment. If you have any questions, just shoot me an email via Canvas. Thank you for listening.